Have you ever felt like your body was working against you? Like every time you tried to rest, your mind just won't stop spinning. Or the moment you finally had a calm day, your anxiety showed up louder than ever. Maybe you've been moving through fatigue, through gut flares, shutdowns, and no one can really explain why. Here's something I want to offer you today. What if your body isn't betraying you, but protecting you? What if the thing that you're calling a flare-up or a bad day is actually your body saying, no, I can't keep holding this pace. No, I'm not okay pretending anymore. No, something about this doesn't feel safe. Because those symptoms, whether it's brain fog, digestive issues, panic, exhaustion, they aren't failures. They are not signs that you're weak. They're not the problem. They are the signals from a body that is wiser, more attuned, and more faithful to you than you've ever been taught to believe. So let's explore what that really means. Symptoms are your body's language. They're not punishments. They're not random. They are not evidence that you're broken. They are messages. Messages from your nervous system, from your fascia, from your immune system, your gut-brain axis, trying to get your attention, trying to say, hey, something's off, I need your help. And if no one's ever told you that before, I want you to know it now. It makes total sense if you've felt scared, ashamed, or frustrated by your symptoms. But those symptoms aren't a glitch. They are a protective response. Your body isn't speaking in English. It's speaking in sensation. The racing heart, the gut drop, the fatigue that hits like a wave, that is your nervous system waving a flag. It's not to punish you. It's to signal that something is dysregulated. To say, hey, I'm under-resourced. Hey, this feels too much. Hey, we're moving too fast. Hey, I don't feel safe right now. And when you can't say no with your words, when you can't stop your actions, your body will say it for you. When your body senses a threat or overwhelm, your autonomic nervous system starts to step in. It pulls you into that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response that we talk about, that survival state that's designed to help you cope, to survive. But if that stress continues to pile up, and your system never gets to complete that stress cycle, those signals turn into symptoms. They turn into brain fog, into chronic constipation or diarrhea, to food allergies and sensitivities, panic, hormonal dysregulation, sleep issues and insomnia, even autoimmune flares. Because your body is trying to adapt to a world or to a lifestyle that's moving too fast, asking for too much, or violating its boundaries. So here's one that I see all the time. You push through a brutal week at work, back-to-back meetings, skipped meals, too much caffeine, no real pause. And then Saturday comes and boom, you crash, you have a migraine, you're exhausted. Maybe you're weepy, you have a short fuse. And then the thought creeps in, oh, my body's failing me. I finally get a break and I can't even enjoy it. Your body waited for the weekend to feel safe. It held you together all week long, and the moment that you slowed down, it said, now I need to fall apart. That's intelligence. That is your body trying to survive. So if symptoms are signals, why do so many of us miss them? Because most of us were trained to. We were praised for being low maintenance, for being high achieving, for being emotionally steady. We were told things like, don't be dramatic, push through, mind over matter. And from an early age, we learned to override our bodies in order to be loved, approved, or seen as strong. And every time you reached for a coffee instead of rest, every time you said yes when your body was screaming no, your nervous system noticed, and it remembers. And over time, it learned she won't listen to the whispers, I'll have to scream. So if you've lived through chronic stress or trauma, it gets even more complex. Because in survival mode, feeling your body often doesn't feel safe. So your system does the brilliant thing and it shuts down your awareness so you can keep going. So maybe you only feel symptoms when you crash. Maybe you feel fine until you're in a full shutdown. Maybe you feel safest when you're over-giving or over-achieving. It's not dysfunction, it's adaptation. But what helped you survive may now be keeping you stuck. Let's be honest, our culture rewards dysregulation. It celebrates the grind, the hustle, it rewards the pushing through. It tells us to earn our worth through output. So when your body begs for rest or it begs for boundaries, you feel lazy. You feel like you're falling behind, like you're failing. But you're not. You're finally listening. So if you've been ignoring your body's cues, not out of neglect, but out of survival, I want to say that you're not broken. You were conditioned to override your needs in order to belong. And the beautiful news is that you can learn to listen again. Not with force, not with fear, but with softness, with curiosity. So let's talk about what happens when those signals keep getting missed and how the body starts to set boundaries for you when you can't. What happens when you've spent years, maybe even decades, ignoring those quiet signals? When we've learned to push through, we've learned to please, to perform, and to silence anything that might slow us down. Eventually the body steps in, and it doesn't always ask politely. It says no for us, not to punish, but to protect. Because when you can't say no with your words, your body will say it with a migraine, with shutdown, with a symptom flare-up, with nausea, even constipation. The body becomes the boundary when you can't set one. That's what happens when your nervous system, your fascia, your immune system, all of it has been carrying too much for too long without permission to pause. If your mind says yes to everything, more work, more caretaking, more obligations, but your capacity says no, again, your body's going to step in, and that might look like chronic pain that forces you to cancel plans. Maybe a panic attack that shuts down your ability to perform. Digestive flare-ups every time you ignore your emotional truths. Insomnia that won't let you stop over-functioning. And skin breakouts or autoimmune flare-ups after major stress periods. Let's look at some everyday examples of the body speaking up in real-life examples that I've seen in clients and patients. Starting with the overcommitted professional. She's got back-to-back meetings, she never says no, she runs on caffeine and barely eats. And by Friday, she's curled up in bed, migraine pulsing, totally wiped out. And she thinks, why now? I was doing so well. But her body was holding in everything until that first sliver of space opened up. And then it finally said, now that you've stopped moving, I need you to really stop. Then we have the emotional suppressor. So this person avoids conflict, stays very agreeable, and tells themselves to just get through it. Then a tiny comment from someone that they love triggers a full-blown meltdown, and they think, well, where did that come from? But their body knows. It's been storing all of these unspoken no's until it had no choice but to explode. Then we have this sensitive soul in a toxic place. Every time they're around a particular person or a situation, they leave feeling drained, head aching, and stomach upset, but they can't figure out why. That's the nervous system picking up on subtle threat patterns before your mind can process them. Your body's saying, hey, this doesn't feel safe. Please don't make me keep going back. So what's going on under the surface? When stress becomes chronic and your system doesn't get time to recover, your allostatic load, which is the total wear and tear on your body, starts to build up. And that kind of dysregulation affects everything from hormones to blood sugar to sleep, digestion, mood, immune function. So no, your body isn't making this up. It's not failing you. It is keeping the receipts. It's adjusting. It's adapting. Because that's what a brilliant, intuitive body does. So if your body is flaring, collapsing, or getting louder, maybe it's setting a boundary that you didn't feel safe to set on your own. And yeah, that can feel really scary, and it can be inconvenient and even feel unfair. But it's also an invitation, Because when you realize your body isn't attacking you, it's advocating for you, you can start to relate to your symptoms with more compassion and less fear, and that changes everything. So now that we've talked about how the body says no when we don't, let's talk about how to actually listen without judgment, fear, or needing to fix everything right away. Because that's where the healing begins. So when a symptom shows up, the reflex is usually, how do I get rid of this? What supplement do I take? How do I make this go away so I can keep going? Do I need to go to the hospital? But what if you asked instead, what is this trying to tell me? What need is underneath all of this? What would it look like to respond instead of override? And that shift from control to curiosity is one of the most powerful ways to build internal safety. Because when your body feels like it's being listened to, it doesn't need to scream anymore. So an exercise that you can try when you're trying to get curious is to pick a symptom that you're experiencing in the moment, whether it's pain, fatigue, nausea, tightness, brain fog, and ask yourself, when did this first start showing up? Does it happen around certain people, certain places, or times of day? What was I doing before it flared up? And lastly, you can ask, if this symptom could speak, what would it say? You don't have to write pages and pages of information. Just a few lines of gentle noticing is enough to start the conversation. And you also don't need any right answers, just honest ones. If deep listening feels too big right now, just start with 30 seconds. Place one hand on your body, whether it's the back of your neck, your belly, your heart, and focus on your breath and ask, how are you doing today? And then just notice. Notice in your body, is there any tension, any heat, any pain, numbness, softness, tension? And then think, what would it feel like if I softened by 1%? And that's it. Micro moments like that build that relational trust between the mind and the body, which rebuilds that sense of safety and can deactivate that fight or flight response. So the goal of listening is not to fix, it is to honor the body where it's at. And those symptoms may not disappear overnight, and that's okay. Sometimes just being acknowledged can help them soften. Sometimes it opens the door to real solutions. But either way, you are teaching your body, hey, I'm here now and I'm listening. So you don't have to be perfect at it. You don't need a 12-step routine or perfectly timed meditations. Listening to your body can be as simple as closing your eyes for 30 seconds before a big task or an email or a phone call, drinking water when your head starts to hurt, canceling plans when you get a lot of anxiety and overwhelm, or resting because you're tired, not because you earned it. Your body is speaking to you all of the time, and you don't have to understand everything it says, you just need to keep showing up. So once you hear the no, what comes next? How do you honor that message, especially when the world around you keeps pushing you to ignore it? You don't need a dramatic overhaul, you need small, consistent acts of care. So say no when you mean no. Decline the plan. Let the email wait. Let someone be a little disappointed if it means that you're not abandoning yourself. That is nervous system integrity. Rest before the crash. Not because you've earned it, but because your body's asking for it. Even a 10-minute rest or a nap or a moment with your eyes closed can count. Choose gentle over force. So let movement feel good, not punishing. Do a light stretch. Walk barefoot in the garden. Sway. These little acts reset your system much more than you think. Care for the younger you. Sometimes your fatigue today is your younger self finally feeling safe enough to feel tired. Let her be seen and let her be cared for. Responding to your body activates the ventral vagus nerve, and that is the part of your nervous system that's responsible for calm, safety, and connection. And when that part lights up, your body starts to trust that it doesn't have to shut down, that it doesn't have to freeze or give you all these mysterious symptoms anymore. Your no is making room for a bigger yes. A bigger yes to healing, to rest, to coming home to yourself. And with the tiniest step of listening and then gently responding with care, all of that starts now. So if your body has been flaring, crashing, aching, or shutting down, it's not betraying you. You have carried so much for far too long, and your symptoms are not failures. They are flags. They are messages, signals from a wise, adaptive body that trusts you enough to speak. So ask yourself, where is my body asking me to pause, slow down, or say no? And let us know in the comments. And remember that you don't have to rush to fix it, just notice. That soft noticing is how trust starts to rebuild. And you don't have to do it perfectly. You don't have to change everything all at once. You just have to keep showing up, curious, compassionate, and present. If you'd like more support on this journey, check out the links below that are all designed to walk with you step by step through safety, regulation, and long-term resilience. We keep things accessible, gentle, and rooted in everything that we talked about today. And you can also join our free community, The Garden, where we practice co-regulation, share wins and setbacks, and remind each other that we are not alone in this. Until next time, be gentle with yourself and keep bloomin' well.